Chancellors always hang around in the street on budget day, but Brexit, a bit like the weather, turned out nicer so far than the forecasters expected.
Any spare cash in there, Chancellor?
He had more spending power thanks to higher growth and lower borrowing. But Brexit won't be a smooth or quick journey. Not that the Chancellor's too worried about his Labour opponents. Here at Westminster, as the time came round towards the budget, his boss, rightly or wrongly, seemed to see Labour's leader as a bit of a joke, and more than just a bit.
Philip Hammond.
And the Chancellor allowed himself to keep the tone upbeat.
I report today on an economy that has continued to confound the commentators with robust growth, a labour market delivering record employment and a deficit down by over 2/3. As we start our negotiations to exit the European Union, this budget takes forward our plan to prepare Britain for a brighter future.
They call him Spreadsheet Phil, businesslike, proud to be boring, so no spending sprees.
We on this side will not saddle our children with ever-increasing debt.
But we'd have higher bills to pay, and for millions that meant higher taxes on company owners who pay themselves in share dividends, and a hike in national insurance for the self-employed, though the Tory manifesto did promise to keep national insurance down.
Employed and self-employed alike use our public services in the same way, but they are not paying for them in the same way.
On national insurance, there's a tax hike for the self-employed. Their national insurance contributions will go up to 11% in 2019. The Chancellor says this will help raise £145 million. Other changes raise much more, but some Tories are unhappy. Paying for social care is now an urgent problem, and the Chancellor had promised MPs he'd find cash to buy more time.
But the system is clearly under pressure, and this in turn puts pressure on our NHS.
For social care, there'd be an extra £2 billion over 3 years, with £1 billion of it available in the next year. He said the long-term funding options would be announced, but what he called Labour's death tax on estates was ruled out. Companies, including pubs, are being hit by higher business rates after revaluation, and that's worried MPs and forced the Chancellor to pour out a little comfort.
Small businesses are taken out of paying rates altogether. But the revaluation has undoubtedly raised some hard cases, especially for those businesses coming out of small business rates relief.
So, to ease the burden of business rates, local councils will be given £300 million to help the worst hit. No small business losing rate relief will see their bill increase by more than £50 a month. There'd be a £1,000 discount on rates for pubs with a rateable value less than £100,000, 90% of them. Getting Britain fit for Brexit meant cash for new schools, grants for technical education, and spending on technology and science. Cue for another joke at the expense of Jeremy Corbyn,
who is now so far down a black hole that even Stephen Hawking has disowned him.
He didn't see the joke at all, but the Chancellor was into his stride and feeling upbeat.
We embark on this next chapter of our history, confident in our strengths and clear in our determination to build a stronger, fairer, better Britain. I commend this budget to the House.
Mr. Corbyn had his counter-attack ready.
This was a budget of utter complacency about the state of our economy. Utter complacency about the crisis facing our public services, and complacent about the reality of daily life for millions of people in this country.
The government was failing in its own ambitions.
When she took office, the Prime Minister said, if you're one of those families, if you're just managing, I want to address you directly. This budget does not address them. It failed them. This budget has done nothing to tackle low pay, nothing to solve the state of emergency that persists for so many people demanding and needing health and social care now.
Extra money for Wales and Scotland, meant to cement the case for the Union, was never likely to head off nationalist condemnation.
Oh, well, that was an awful budget. It was the Brexit budget that dare not speak its name. He barely mentioned Brexit, the biggest single risk to the UK and the Scottish economy. He's confirmed he's wedded to the welfare cut, punishing the poorest and the most vulnerable. An appalling budget.
Taxes are on their highest rate for nearly a generation. Wages are declining. So when you unmask the creative accounting in the budget, that's the reality of Westminster economic policy.
A strong backlash then for a relatively small-scale budget. But fierce controversy's normal now on Britain's long march to Brexit. John Pienaar, BBC News, Westminster.